And we are live. What is up, people of the internet? It is me, a real American, back in with a new stream, and that is right. We are live on this beautiful May 28th, 2026. I hope everyone's having a great day. And I know we usually are supposed to stream on the evening, but today we have some pretty big news out of Iran. We are getting some speculation, some word that any minute now there could be some big news on the Iran front. The war could be over. Again, it's not a guarantee, of course. We've heard this how many times now? Like 20. So anything could happen, but I do think with this being the closest we've come to the war ending and how the market's responding, I do think we are on the verge of the war finally ending. And we're here with Luke, by the way. I forgot to mention that. And
Stephen Chung fan,
yeah, that's
actually.
right. Steven Chun fan. Yeah, so there was gonna be evening stream today, but I thought, you know what, it's just too big of news to ignore. So let me just make sure everything's good. Yes, it is. Okay, there we go. We're good. So yeah, we got a lot to talk about today, but before we get into it, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends, and of course, join the channel today. These are all great ways to support the daily content. And if you have any questions or concerns or want to support the channel even further, the best way is sending super chats via the chat. Again, I will read through as much of chat as possible, but usually super chats are the best way to get your questions answered. And we do got a couple super chats to read. Let me pull this up here. K-Cup for 2. Late Wumpa Island politics. Death platform is gone. I have no clue what that reference is, but thanks for super chat. American Nerd for 2. Will we get cheaper gas now? Well, gas has been getting cheaper lately. I've noticed that. So, kind of. We already are. So, after today, we might get way cheaper gas. But, so, I guess we got to talk about what the big stink is because this is a pretty big deal. So, a little while ago, and I know it's Axios, it's kind of a meme now where anytime Axios reports something, sometimes it doesn't really age well, especially when it comes to this Iran stuff. But it does seem like there is some legitimacy surrounding this. So a little while ago, according to Axios, the United States and Iran have reached a deal to extend their ceasefire by 60 days, but they still need President Trump's final approval. And I think they need the approval of the Supreme Leader, I think, right? That's kind of the rumor.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the thing. Is the guy even
Which,
alive?
according to Israeli news, the deal is fake and it doesn't exist.
Well, it's the
But
thing though, where we're hearing like one Iran source saying one thing. Did Iranian media report yesterday they agreed to it or something?
yeah,
That's
yeah,
what's so
Iran
weird about
media is
this.
insane. Yeah. No, the big thing is Israeli media, because again, I'm pro-Israel, but this is something where our interests are kind of colliding a bit. We had uniform interests. Both of us had interests to go into Iran and stop them from having nuclear weapons. Israel's interest, though, is they want the regime just killed. They want to
Yeah,
keep going at this until the regime falls. We just want to get them to stop not have a nuclear weapon, and
we
that's
just
that's
want to be
what
a
we're about.
functioning society. That's all we care about. Just
And
like be halfway normal, please.
yeah, and Israel, because of this deal, they're putting out a bunch of stuff, a lot of their like kind of media. And I'm saying this, I'm not saying this as like someone who's very anti-Israel, because you watch my shit. I'm pro-Israel, but I
Yeah.
can also admit that yeah, our interests are not really aligned on this one. And they're actively trying to push out a lot of media that says, hey, we should keep fighting, basically, that type of thing,
Yeah, and again,
which we
like, I
should.
understand like they have their own thing, but you actually read in between the lines. I think there is some truth to this. Again, just a day ago, Iran media was going around and saying they've agreed to the deal, America has surrendered, all this other nonsense. Of course, we're spinning it, but they're reporting it in Iran. Now, there were a couple
Yeah.
strikes yesterday, but I think it was again the guard doing dumb stuff. But still, I do think there are some half truths with what's going on here. Now, this is what's actually in the agreement. This is part of it. I got the full article right here, but the summary is the details include a 60-day period will launch negotiations on Iran's nuclear program. U.S. negotiators briefed Trump on the details of the final deal, and he asked to take a few days to think about it. The 60-day memorandum of understanding will state that shipping through the Strait of Hormuz will be unrestricted. U.S. officials said the deal terms were mostly agreed, but both sides still needed to get approval from senior leadership. So this is a big thing right here. It's not a final thing yet, but it looks like it's like 90% done. We're like right fucking there. They're just there's some finer details they're talking about, and that's why they're including the 60-day period where they're trying to figure out the nuclear stuff. I have no clue how they're going to deal with that. That's going to be the one issue. I don't know how you deal with that. Because would Iran ever agree to give up any of that stuff? Like, that's the problem here. And I don't know if they will or would. What do you think, Luke? You're more the foreign policy guy.
No, I think Iran would agree because, like, keep in mind, I think there's definitely a scenario where Iran agrees because keep in mind, yeah, you can say they're run by Islamic schizophrenic Shia clerics, but at the end of the day, everyone has a breaking point. Every single person, as much as they want to believe their batshit religious views, every single person has a will to live, and the Iranians are clearly having that now, which is why they are
The
at
talking.
least they're talking, yeah, and they are trying to negotiate. And I don't think them having. I think they care more about their survival than the ability to build a nuke. So I think it is definitely possible to get them to this. And from what I'm getting from this, I think China kind of got involved because notice right after the China Trump meeting,
Yeah, that's when
Iran
they started
immediately was like,
talking.
"We want to make a deal." Yeah, and that's what I think's going on. I think China got involved and basically was like, "Hey, yeah, you guys get
You
this
guys
shit figured out."
yeah, I mean, because like, oh, we're not asking for everything. We're just saying, hey, act like a halfway normal country. That's all you have to do. And
Yeah,
like, yeah, you can't have weapons or what or nuclear weapons, but you could still have nuclear power or whatever. It's like I don't get like why they want the weapons so bad. Like, why? Why do they want the nuke? Like,
because they want to destroy Israel.
yeah,
That's
basically. I mean, what else is there? Like, what other real reason? Self defense. Saudi Arabia does not have any nukes, yet no one's worried about them or the other countries in the Middle East. It's bullshit.
because yeah, don't let anyone say us. No, Iran having nuclear weapons, a country that is quite literally diametrically opposed to the United States, that has a lot of power to threaten several of our allies, including Saudi Arabia, Israel. Do not let anyone tell you it is not in America's interest to stop Iran getting nukes. It very much is. Now, the Iranian regime falling, having Americans having this be a multi-year war to get the Iranian regime to fall, that's not in our
Yeah,
interest.
no, I
That is more so in Israel's interest. And that's why you're seeing Netanyahu start to freak out. Which, by the way, I like Netanyahu. I think he's been a pretty good leader for his
well,
country.
that's where we have our
I
disagreement side.
well, I know, but like, keep in mind, you want to talk about nationalism. He's doing what's in the best interest of his
Well, no,
country,
I'm
and
not denying that.
I
Like,
can
I do
respect
think
that. Yeah,
what he's doing is yes, it is the best interest of Israel. I'm
yeah.
not denying that, but just is it the best interest of the United States to do a
Exactly, and
regime
that's no, and
change?
that's where I
Like,
come to a disagreement there, you know. But
the only
uh,
regime change I would support is if the people did it themselves, and it's clear they're not going to, at least not right now. So
I mean, they had the capacity to.
they fucked up.
And
That's what
by
happened.
the way, now the internet's back on in Iran, and we're seeing videos from those protests, and they were bigger than people thought.
Yeah, I
They
saw
were,
some of that.
yeah.
All right, couple
We'll
some more.
see. All I'm
Yeah.
saying is that there's you're probably going to see them again sometime soon, and the government might not get as lucky next time.
Yeah. Right guy for 5. The Kurds being held at bay thanks to the Confederacy of the Confederacy in North Carolina. Oh gosh. K Cup for 5. So if and when the US and Iran have signed a deal and when the war ends, how long until the IRGC says we answer to Kamahama and things go boom? Well, that is still the concern. The guard is just fucking ran by idiots. That is gonna be the problem. But at some point, even the guard has to realize, okay, if we continue this, we're dead. I don't see a scenario where they live if they continue this, but I don't know. Luke is paid for by Israel. That's real. Yeah, Luke, you're an Israeli agent.
Yeah, because I've been relatively critical of Israel. The main reason I defend it so much is because everyone's criticizing it. It's the popular thing to do, and I still think they're an ally. As much as we can like disagree with some of their actions, but no, they are in the wrong on this one. That we should at least our interests are going to surpass their.
We lost you. Well, we just lost Luke. Shit. Oh well. American Nerd for 2. Why did we give the protesters weapons in Iran? We tried to, but then the Kurds kind of said, no, we took your weapons and left. Oh, hold on
What?
here. We have some breaking news apparently.
What's the news?
People are saying that they've agreed to the ceasefire now.
That what?
Fox News reported they agreed to the ceasefire.
Who, Iran or us? Because Trump is going to take a couple days.
Okay, yeah, it's just another report. It's confirming that they have agreed to a deal, but it's Trump's final approval. Basically, they've agreed to something at least. So Fox News is now reporting it now.
So Iran's agreed to it, and we're just waiting.
Yeah, it sounds like we're waiting on Trump here to give the final go ahead.
Okay.
Yep, right
Okay.
here. Breaking: U.S.-Iran negotiators agree on a 60-day memo of understanding to extend the ceasefire and
Okay,
launch.
bro, this was reported. This the same thing.
No,
that
no,
was reported.
no. Fox News reported a separate report now. This broke like 10 minutes
Just
ago.
now?
Yeah,
Oh,
they just
okay.
broke it. This is separate. Like, this is from 10 minutes ago. So they're confirming it. And that's what I'm trying to say. Like, they're confirming a separate report here. So
I see.
it looks like there is some credibility with the Axios report, because usually the Axios stuff, you know, again, they say one thing and fucking the opposite happens. But if Fox News and others are saying it now, there is some legitimacy. So
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. Where are we at? American Nerd for 2. Can we really trust Fox News as a source? Well, I know it's Fox News, but usually they're right for their main sources and stuff. Usually, it's not
Look,
like
Fox, CNN, all those people, when they're saying something like this about foreign policy, right? This isn't like, I get you might not like domestic politics, but like with foreign policy, they're going to be right on this stuff. When they say something like this is happening, like a deal, they're going to be right.
yeah. This was 10 minutes ago. This is a separate confirmation from Fox News. So yeah, it's a separate report completely, and they're saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that basically means that, yeah, now we're starting to see them reported. Okay. So that means this report right here from Axios, it was confirmed by everybody else. Everybody's confirming it now. Yeah, so basically the main agreement is the blockade will be lifted and ships will be allowed to go through the Hormuz again, the Strait of Hormuz.
Yeah.
And they have 60 days to agree to the nuclear stuff. So basically, they've agreed to
Which
everything.
it seems like
Yeah.
everything's just agreed to. They just need a little bit more time on
Yeah,
the
it sounds like the big stink is still over the enriched uranium. That's kind of the big issue still.
Which I think if they get 60 days, they'll be able to work.
Yeah, they're gonna figure it out. Like, Iran's gonna do something where they can spin it through people and say, "See, we won, everybody. We beat America back," or some shit like that. But yeah, Builder Shed for 2. Rip Harambe 10 years. Yeah, I saw that. Freaking the White House posted that. Yeah, I can't believe it's been 10 years since Harambe died. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A U.S. official said this means no tolls, no harassment, and that Iran will have to remove all mines in the strait within 30 days. Okay, so we got a fucking deal. I'm reading through this article. Yeah, we got it. This seems a little bit more. What?
The Ayatollah could still say no.
That's
as well.
a thing here. You still got the supreme leader, who I think is dead. I don't think the guy's alive. Personally, I think the guy's dead. But we'll see. Again, we shall see in the next couple of hours, maybe, if we get more stuff. But it's sounding like we got something through. And that's a big deal. Because now it's the end of May. And like I said, you want to get this war completely done, at least like the main part of it done, by June. Like at the absolute latest. So gas prices could come down for the midterms. This is like the latest possible scenario for it to work. And it looks like Trump's getting it done. Again, not a guarantee, because like Luke says, the supreme leaders are schizophrenic. I'm not schizophrenic, but
hold your guys' horses on this.
Yeah.
Like it's a good sign, but do not.
It's not a guarantee. But I do think this is the best, the closest we've come to a deal. That's what I'm understanding here. That like there is some wording they disagree on, like usual, but yeah. President Gilbert getting up for 5. If the guard isn't going to give up, then what can we do? Then what we can do is send Tyrone with space lasers and have him yell, "I'm gay." Oh gosh. Inari for 2. Make Harambe great again. Yeah. Which Supreme Leader? The new one who's probably dead. I still think he's dead. Like, is there any proof the guy's
gay one.
alive?
No, the gay one.
Yeah,
The
there's
gay
no
one.
proof he's even alive. Like, I refuse to accept the fact that he's not. There's no proof of it whatsoever. He's done nothing. I get it, he got blown up, but still, it's like he's probably dead. Cake out for 5. Yeah, it just came across my ENPS link to the AP, and it says U.S. and Iran negotiators reach tentative deal to extend ceasefire and launch nuclear talk. Okay, the AP's reporting the same thing now. Everybody's reporting it now. Okay, well, so much for the endless war. I guess it's still a possibility, but hey,
Again,
yeah,
it's been agreed by the negotiator.
yeah,
not
I
by the
know,
government.
but still, how many people did Robert Barnes predict to die? It was like 10,000 people, like 10,000 American soldiers.
Well, according to Iran, we've already lost like 6,000.
Yeah, they probably
according to
believe
Iran.
it. So, American Nerd for 2. Iran has no supreme leader. The IRGC is in charge. Well, yeah, they're in charge. The supreme leader's fucking dead. If he's alive, he's in a coma. People are saying check the oil markets right now. They're probably going crazy right now. Let's see. Crude oil. Yeah, they crashed. They're down to $88. Yeah, we're gonna see because it is Iran, but I think my prediction on this is we're gonna have an official agreement reached probably tomorrow. I think Trump's gonna put out a statement. And
I ran so far away.
thank you.
Banger.
But yeah,
It's a banger.
I do think here's my prediction. They're going to announce the agreement tomorrow, and we're gonna have 60 days of no bullshit. So that means the Strait of Hormuz should be open. Oil prices will crash and gas prices will go down significantly. We avoided a worst case scenario, I think. I think we avoided worst case scenario for the energy crisis.
Again, I don't want this to be Dewey versus Truman. Let's keep the.
Oh, I know. I know. I want to be clear. It still could happen, I guess. But I think right now, based on what we're hearing, based on the fact that AP is reporting it, Fox News, a few others, I do think we avoided worst case scenario. I think we avoided it. We shall see what happens for sure, but anyways. American Nerd for 2. Is Cuba next now? Bay of Pigs 2.0. We're not doing a Bay of Pigs. That's not gonna happen. But
we're not gonna pull support midway through. Fucking Kennedy.
Yeah, that we kind of screw those guys over. That was you feel kind of bad for them. It's like, oh yeah, we told them we would support them and we didn't. But yeah, speaking of Cuba, I've not heard a lot about Cuba lately. Does anybody know what's going on there? I don't know.
Once Iran's situated, we're just gonna like walk. Because, dude, we could literally just like walk down the street and just like take it. Like,
Well,
keep in mind, you take Venezuela in like an hour. If you jump from Key West, you can hit Florida. You know, if you just
we'll take Cuba in like 5 minutes, honestly. Because we have indicted Castro, I know that. We've indicted him, and we've been talking more with him. I think what's gonna happen in Cuba is gonna be like the Venezuela thing. We're just gonna take it over, take the shit over, and then it's not gonna become a state or territory. It's gonna be totally independent, but we basically control Cuba like we do with Venezuela. That's what I think's gonna happen in Cuba. I think we're just gonna take it indirectly. Maybe not a military operation because isn't Cuba out of energy? Right?
Yeah. Yes.
So yeah, like how much longer can they last? Minutes? I don't know.
Yes. Seconds.
Yeah, like that's the issue. I think Cuba at this point's inevitable. It's a matter of when, not if. It's a matter of when it happens. I think Trump is waiting on the I'm pretty sure they are talking to Cuba.
Squealing like a pig. He's giving him all the information about all the Hassan Piker about all
Oh
the
yeah, that's right.
he literally went on a live stream and just said everything that they needed to know.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
this
thank
guy,
you.
he lives in Cuba. He's giving all the info.
Thank you very
I don't know what
much.
he wants to hear this, and it's like, bro, you just,
You sold out everybody.
oh, bro.
All right, Commander John for 2, Trump 28, take Cuba now. Yeah, so I think with Cuba, what they're waiting on, from what I understand, they are talking to the Cuban government. I believe they are having talks. I just don't know because
Yeah, wasn't the FBI already down there?
yeah, no, the CIA was. Ratcliffe was down there,
Yeah.
and we sent him down there, and they're like the day after we indicted Castro, which is hilarious. But I don't know what's going. The thing with Cuba is, I think what's going to happen is they're just going to allow them to like flee, like the Castro regime. They're just going to let them leave, and,
Go to
and
Russia.
and we just take it over, and nobody can do anything about it. That's probably what's going to happen, I think. Which at that point, we took out Venezuela and Cuba. I wonder how they're going to vote in 2026. Cubans and Venezuelans. I wonder. Luke, how do you think Cubans and Venezuelans going to vote?
D plus 30 because they supported the bureau.
Yeah, I can't believe that's a real talking point, but unironically, you want to make them vote like Assad margins. You take down Cuba and you take down Venezuela.
Wait, was Barra's like anti-Venezuela operation too? I don't.
He said, I gotta find the tweet. He said we were better off creating a new refugee program for Venezuela. I'm not even joking. That's what he said. He said we need to import a bunch of refugees from Venezuela and import them in like Georgia or whatever. That's what he said. Because politics or whatever. It's like what? Yes. You attacked
that with Persians, and I'd agree.
But it's like, okay, you attack Trump for not doing enough on legal immigration, which is horseshit. But
what if we just brought all the Iranian protesters to Georgia? Like,
I don't know.
That would be epic. It would be like that would make Georgia a red state.
Well, but like that's his argument. It's like, oh, we need refugees because they vote Republican. How is that any different than Republicans 10 years ago saying we need amnesty to make Hispanics vote red? How is that any different?
Well, it depends on the refugees.
I get that, but like he was anti-Venezuela until after the fact. Then he said, oh, it worked perfectly. It's like, dude, really? Tristan for 2. White House needs to focus on domestic issues rest of the year. I actually agree with that. I do think if you want to do the Cuba thing, do it now. Don't piss around and wait till October and then no. You do it in June. If you have an operation planned, which I don't really think they do, you got to do it right now. You can't piss around for 5 months and then do it in June or October. And no, you can't do that. But K-Cup for 2. With the war done, Iowa's now Lenar Barris. Well, yeah, they're saying Florida's competitive, which is just wild. Chance Raising
Florida's competitive.
Barris and Barnes are saying Florida's going Democrat this year. They're saying it. It's going to go Democrat this year. Yes, the Cubans in Miami. I'm sure they love the Castro regime. I'm sure of it. But that's what they're implying. That because we're taking down Cuba, that's going to somehow hurt Trump with Cubans. Just freaking stupid.
Yeah, I got to stop in and get some Chinese food real quick.
All right.
I need it.
I'm going to read some super chats. Chance Raising for 5. So many humiliating crash outs for people on the right since the Iran thing started. Who is the worst? I'm going with Tucker, but Barris a close second. I'm going to say in general, it was Tucker's more influential. He's more noteworthy, but the more insane one was Barris. At least Tucker, he's kind of been like that, but yeah, no. Just the thing with Barris is like he's full of shit. He's lying purposely. Gustavo G for 2. Barris and Barnes believed in the base replacement. Yeah, I remember that. Florida's not going blue. Well, they're going around and saying it's going to go blue because of like Cuba or something. It's like, what? Even a Democrat pollster is saying Florida Hispanics are voting Republican this year. If that's the case, there's no way in hell Republicans lose. But that's the talking point they're pushing. I still think they're manipulating the betting markets, but We'll see, of course. We shall see. Will the Cuba operation hurt Trump with Latin American voters? Why would it? Like, I'm trying to figure this out. Okay, these people fled Cuba, or their parents did, and we take down the regime that killed a bunch of people, made a bunch of people disappear. How does that hurt Trump with Cubans? I'm trying to figure this out. The only voter bloc I think that does shift to the left heavy is like Mexicans, and that's about it. I don't get how Cubans or Venezuelans would hate this. Hell, a poll from Venezuela came out like a day ago, and it's like Trump plus 30. It's like, really? They love Trump in Venezuela. They would love him in Cuba if they free them. It's like, really? I don't get how this would hurt Trump. Trump was kind of right that the Iran war would only last 4 to 6 weeks since they've been in a ceasefire since April 7th. Well, yeah, he was right on that. Like, the actual fighting and the bombing runs and blowing stuff up, that happened for 4 to 6 weeks. There's been once in a while some strikes here and there, but since April 7th or whatever, there has been a ceasefire in place. So he was right. It was 4 to 6 weeks, and now it's just negotiating, figuring out the final details on the enrichment program, on the IRGC sanctions, the Strait of Hormuz, etc. Some people are saying Paxton will lose, but not betting markets are saying he will win. Well, yeah, now betting markets are saying Trump's or Paxton's going to win. I saw that. It's as if people realize that Tariq was a shit candidate. Wow. Anyone else notice that election day, Massey fell and Goldrain rose immediately? It's almost like they manipulated the betting markets. Oh, they fucking did. It's on video. Tyrone posted it. For those that don't know, Barris said, "Oh, accidentally, I put money on Ed Goldrain plus 4 to 5 to 10 or whatever it was. Gee, on accident. Yeah, I'm sure. And you cashed out early. It's a freaking scam." President Gilbert getting up for 20. Hey, Trump, if you want to take another regime, then we got more cartels of Mexico and administration. Brazil, Guatemala. How much you think Hispanics would vote for Republicans? I'm Hispanic. I could say yes, they want it. Well, yeah, a lot of these countries just get rid of these shit people and people love you. I don't think it's going to be outside of Cubans and Venezuelans, which they have a very unique relationship with, like Venezuela and Cuba and the insane regimes that are running the countries. I don't think do the same thing in Mexico would really change much. Maybe the cartels a little bit, but I don't know. I really don't think that Hispanics outside of Cubans and Venezuelans would really shift right because of taking down Mexico or whatever. But in New York City, Venezuelans were celebrating the capture of Maduro. Well, yeah. I don't get why people thought that was going to hurt Trump with Venezuelans. Why? You think that Venezuelans fled Venezuela because they loved Maduro? Or Chavez? It's like, really? In order for 5, Mexicans aren't even leftists in the white liberal sense. Many Mexican lefties in Mexico itself are socially conservative. Well, yeah, but in America, it's a little bit different. It depends on where. You know, maybe in southern Texas, it's much more rural. Yeah, probably. But in downtown Austin or downtown Houston, yeah, they're probably much more to the left on social issues. But rural Hispanics, yeah, they tend to be way more conservative. That's true. But they still vote Democrat in some areas. They're still ancestral Democrats to this day. All right. I still think the midterms will be reverse 22, where New Hampshire is our version of the Pennsylvania Senate race. That would be hilarious, but we'll see. We shall see what happens. All right. Since we're done with the Iran stuff, it is a big story, but I do think, like Luke is saying, we got to wait and see. I do think very positive development. I do think it is looking very good, and it looks like we're getting close to the conflict being over. Now, again, I've said this a million times. Not a guarantee. With Trump, with the Supreme Leader being nuts or possibly dead, it could fall apart tomorrow. But based on what we're seeing and hearing, yeah, I think we are the closest we've been to this war ending. What do you guys think? Do you guys agree? Chat, do you guys agree? Because right here, I do got the Fox News report. Yep, right here. So yeah, Fox News reported the same thing, that they're waiting on Trump here. They're currently waiting on Trump for the final agreement. I live in southern Florida, and the Cubans down here want the communist style stuff. Well, yeah, it's like I'm just trying to figure out like the whole argument. It's like, why are you talking about these Cubans would hate the Trump regime or Trump for taking on the Cuban regime? What? I don't know. I don't think so. I feel like Israel run it again or ruin it. Well, yeah, that is the concern because with Israel they have different motivations. 2 weeks to stop the war. Yeah, that is true. We've heard this before. It's like, guys, within 2 weeks the war is going to end. I get that, and we'll see, of course, but I just think there's way too much smoke surrounding this right now. The Strait of Hormuz needs to be reopened months ahead of the midterms. Well, according to Axios and Fox News, the agreement that they have in place right now would reopen the Strait of Hormuz for sure through the next 60 days. And that's what we need right now. I think Cubans would hate Trump more if he had an opportunity to take Cuba out and not do it. Well, yeah, I'm trying to figure out the whole thing where Cubans that's fled Cuba 50 years ago, or the parents did or whatever, why would they be against overthrowing the regime? Yeah, because Cubans escaped communism because they really like communism. Sure, Barris. Yeah. Well, they said Maduro was good. That's their argument. That Maduro was actually a really good person. It's fucking wild. But the third worldists, what do you expect? They are unironic third worldists. And they're letting their bullshit worldview influence their takes. Again, I'm not saying they're taking Cuba would mean, oh, Cubans or Mexicans are going to vote Republican. That's not what I'm saying. But if you really think this hurts with Cubans, which are the main Hispanic voting bloc in Florida, what the hell are you talking about? I don't know. Every time we had reopened over the past couple months and or agreed on anything, the IRGC kept disobeying orders. Yeah, that's still the issue. That is still the number one issue here. The IRGC is ran by schizophrenics. They're ran by dumbasses. They have no clue what they're doing. Well, they're religious fanatics. I shouldn't be surprised about that. But that is the main issue here. How do you deal with the IRGC? Because I do think the civilian side of the government, they want an agreement. The IRGC are ran by nutcases, and they don't want an agreement. But I do think at some point you got to realize, okay, we're gonna die if we don't keep this up. If we keep this up, I should say. We shall see. Actually, it's Puerto Ricans. You know what I'm saying. For Democrats to win Florida, they have to do very good with Cubans. They have to. Like, yeah, Puerto Ricans are a big voting bloc. I get that. But to win Florida as a Democrat, you cannot get crushed with Cubans. You just can't. Bent ball away for two. Bigger question is what happens after we take Cuba? Well, that is a good question. What do you do with Cuba? I mean, that is a question of our time. There's no way it becomes a state, right? There's like Venezuela is a meme. I get that, but the thing with Cuba is it does have passed as being like a territory of the United States, I think, right? After the Spanish American War, I'm pretty sure America owned Cuba for a while, right? I don't think it's become a state, but maybe a territory? Maybe like a protectorate? I do think with Cuba, the thing for sure we're going to learn is how much influence these communist groups in Cuba had on American politics. That's the one thing I do think we're going to learn. Like somebody said in chat, I do think we're going to learn the truth about, hey, how are all these leftist nutcases in America? Where are they getting the money from? Where are they getting resources from? That is a good question. We'll see, of course. We have the Philippines. Oh yeah, I know, but the Philippines. But I don't know about Cuba. Cuba was a puppet government under America. Okay, that's what I thought. It was like a protectorate, kind of. That's true. Yeah, that's the thing with Cuba. Like, I don't think it's become a state, but maybe becomes a territory. Trump wants to just take shit and make it American. It's not gonna become a. I just don't think it's become a state. I just don't think its historical connection to America is not enough. I don't think to really reach statehood. Cuba will be 2 more Republican Senate seats. Oh yeah, 100%. Especially after living under communism for 70 years. Yeah, they would. Absolutely would. Make Sudan a state. No. Ben Ballway for 2. I think it's going to propel Puerto Rico statehood causes. The problem is, like, A, I don't think there's enough support in Cuba for it. But B, there are still a bunch of Puerto Ricans that are against statehood. Like, they're vehemently against it. So that's the main issue. Maybe it does give them some momentum, but a deal could be made with the Democrats to bring Puerto Rico in as a blue state and Cuba's in as red state. I don't think Democrats would agree to that. Because there with Puerto Rico is you have to make sure they're going to stay Republican. And in Puerto Rico, they vote Republican, at least down ballot. So I don't know if they would agree to that. They would want Puerto Rico and DC. That's a problem. Mixed Somalia. Oh, wait, Minnesota exists. Yeah. Yeah, mixed Somalia state. Oh, wait a minute. We already got Minnesota. Yeah, it's true. We should annex the moon before giving Puerto Rico statehood. I agree. It's ours anyways. We landed there first. So we'll take it. We're just going to take it. DC should be given to Virginia if they want representation. Well, I've argued if you want to make DC a state, fine, but you got to take like Northern Virginia with you. Like you should not just become no. It should be the part that they're talking about. Make it part of Nova. Make it its own stupid state. They want it, go ahead. Or better yet, take away their electoral votes. That's the best solution. Hey, you want representation? Too bad. I don't know. Give it to Maryland. Yeah, just give it to Maryland. If they really want representation, why don't they just give it to Maryland? I don't know. America noted for 2. What about Alberta as a state? It's not going to happen. There's too much going against the referendum, but even if it does happen, it succeeds. I don't think Alberta wants to become a state. Best case scenario I see is a territory. So, a glitch Evie for 2. Late to the stream today. What did I miss? We talked about the Iran news. There is some positive developments brewing out of Iran, but we shall see soon. We shall see. Where we at? All right, so enough of that. I do want to get to the other news today because we do got some pretty big news out from the hold on, I gotta find this. because there was a pretty big executive order Trump signed a couple months ago that got held up. Yeah, right here. Hey Rap, how you feel about Georgia Senate race and governor race? I feel pretty good for the governorship. Senate race to be determined. I want to wait and see. But yeah, this is the other big story I want to talk about today, and I finally found it. So a couple months ago, President Trump signed an executive order. I think everyone's heard about this. I think when it became clear that the Senate GOP are useless and they won't pass the Save America Act, a 90-10 issue, 80-20 among Democrats, the most popular piece of legislation that's actually significant in a long time. I don't give a shit about the Epstein stuff. Nobody gives a shit about that. It changed nothing. The Save America Act is actually impactful and it's popular. Well, when it became clear they were not going to pass it, Trump signed an executive order that essentially does the same thing as it pertains to mail-in voting, because that's kind of what the main deal with the Save America Act is. The mail-in garbage. Everybody knows about why Trump is upset about mail-in voting. That was the main focus. Yes, the other stuff is important, like cleaned up voter rolls, all this other stuff. That's important. But what was actually in the SAVE Act? It was stuff like proof of citizenship, voter ID, some regulation on mail-in voting, cleaned up voter rolls, just common sense stuff, basically. Well, right here, a judge refuses to block Trump order to limit mail-in voting. There is no immediate effect in the midterms. So yeah, a federal judge declined to halt President Trump's executive order, creating a federal voter list and limiting mail-in voting, clearing the way for potential sweeping changes in how American elections are run shortly before this year's midterms. U.S. District Judge Carl Nicholas, a Trump appointee in Washington, late Wednesday rejected the request by Democrats and civil rights groups that had argued Trump's order would likely be found unconstitutional because the states and Congress, not the president, had the power to set election rules, which is kind of it is true, but here's the thing. This is kind of where it gets kind of weird. So what Trump's executive order does, from my understanding, I think they actually have something about this. Yeah, right here. Trump issued the order in March after a bill he supported overhaul of voting stalled in Congress. The order would have had the federal government create a list of eligible voters and then directed the U.S. Postal Service to deliver mail-in ballots only to those on the list. And this right here is what this does. So you have to actually prove that you're eligible to vote, you're an actual citizen, and there is this mysterious voter list. And the only way that the U.S. Postal Service would actually deliver mail-in ballots is if you're on that list. That's all the order does. And this is where it gets kind of weird, because theoretically, Trump could direct the U.S. Postal Service to do this. What's really stopping him? Seriously, what's really stopping U.S. Postal Service from doing this? What? It's a regulation or whatever. That's where it gets kind of wacky, where it's a gray area where, yeah, Congress and states, they have the power to do this, but all he's doing is just directing U.S. Postal Service to just enact a common sense regulation. This is a pretty big deal, because this essentially stops a lot of bullshit. Without U.S. Postal Service giving mail-in ballots to God knows who, the Democrat machine does not work. In states like California or Illinois or New York, it doesn't. That's why it's a big deal. This does not prevent everybody from not being able to use mail-in voting. All it just says is, hey, you just have to prove you're a citizen, and then you can use U.S. Postal Service. That's it. Democrats and civil rights groups argued it was urged that Nicholas issued a restraining order in the midst of a primary season and with states already gearing up for the fall campaign. This was Trump's second executive order seeking overhaul elections and voting. His initial election executive order, issued just months after he took office in his second term, has been blocked by multiple federal judges, which is the proof of citizenship. And that was always the more difficult one to prove. But I don't know about this. So All this is just saying is, hey, you're a citizen, you can vote by mail. But if you're not, we're not going to send you a mail-in ballot. Seriously, what is California going to do if USPS just says, fuck you? We're not going to give the people that we don't think are citizens. What can they do? You see the issue with this? And that's why it's kind of a gray area. Like, yes, the last part about the proof of citizenship as a separate executive order, that's going to be basically impossible without Congress. If you like, that's going to be possible. But the main part with the mail-in list, what can California do? If USPS is just saying we're not going to deliver these ballots to people that are not citizens, you see the issue here? How do you get around that if you're a state? Democrats, illegals can't vote. Also Democrats. Yeah, it's just weird. All they're just saying is, hey, if you're not a citizen, you can't use USPS for mail-in voting. That's all they're doing here. That's a pretty big deal that a judge did not strike it down. Of course, it is a Trump judge. We get that, but it's a big win. It is a big win for President Trump that right now it has not been blocked. I wonder how much California voting numbers would drop if only citizens could vote. God only knows. That's the sickening part. Who freaking knows? Hey, we would have solved it by now if the Save America Act was, passed. We had it. It was right there. And John Thune refused to do anything with it because principles or some bullshit like that. It's insane. So what do you guys think about this? This is a pretty big deal, I think. It does not mean that mail-in voting's dead. It's a kind of a clever loophole that I didn't think about, but the more you think about, yeah, it makes sense. What can a state really do like California? What can they do? If USPS is just saying, no, we're not going to deliver these ballots. They're not eligible to vote. Why would we? Very interesting. Very interesting. Millions. I will not be one bit surprised if it's millions. Principles. Yeah, they love principles, everybody. And this is what we're talking. We're not talking crazy. We're going to make sure Democrats can never win well. If what people are saying about elections are true, they probably would never win with this system. But all we're just saying is, hey, you cannot have illegal immigrants voting. Only citizens of the United States can vote. They're the only people able to vote. That's all that they're pushing. As a California, this is absolutely needed. Yeah, it's just common sense. Why aren't they doing this in the first place? Why aren't they verifying these people can actually vote? California probably becomes D+10 if that happens. I wouldn't go that far just yet, but it would be kind of funny just out of nowhere. Oh, California shifted like 30 points to the right or whatever. Gee, I wonder what happened there. I wonder why. But yeah, it is just a kind of a tiny fix. There's got to be a significant overhaul in elections, obviously. Just do the Florida system. They fixed Florida elections after 2000 and after 2018. They fixed it. And now they count all the votes within a couple hours and they're done. Meanwhile, California takes days, weeks, sometimes months to figure out who won because they can't count anything. That is absurd to me. Why should a state like California be able to take months to count votes? Because there's a garbage law. Why? Just do the Florida model. That fixes everything. You don't have to worry about, just do the Florida model. You don't have to worry about anything because their elections are secured. It's fast, it's efficient, it's clean, and you get actual results that are correct. Just baffling. Absolutely baffling. We don't have this everywhere. And instead, Trump has to do an executive order like this, and it gets immediately blocked. Well, in this case, it didn't. But the fact that we don't even do this, I don't know. It's wild. Why does it feel like you're yelling at us? I'm not yelling at anybody. I'm just saying, like, why can't we just do the Florida model? Just do the Florida model and everybody's happy. Turnout in Florida's fine. Like, I don't get, like, what is the actual excuse, or what's the actual argument against the Florida model? What do Democrats say about the Florida model? It's racist or what? It's too efficient. It's too fast. Seriously, has anybody been able to give a coherent argument against Florida elections? I can't think of anything. Any legitimate excuse or reason. Nothing. All right. California law gives them 30 days, which is insane. You should not have 30 days to figure that out. That is absurd. You should be able to count the votes in a week. Not even a week, an hour. A couple hours, maybe. With it being a bigger state, fine. Maybe you could stretch it out like 4 or 5 hours. It just, wow. Anyways, because I don't count black people. Yeah, that's the argument. Yeah, they totally don't allow black people to vote, even though they do. Yeah, sure. Voter suppression. Yeah, it's all voter suppression, everybody. Take up for 5. Did Michelle Steele have a lead in her district in California? And then over the span of 1 to 2 weeks, she lost her lead. And when it was done, she barely lost. Yeah. I remember that. Happened to John Duarte. Well, that's a little bit different. But yeah, mysteriously, weeks after the fact. But that's how it works. They did a lot of ballot chasing, which is just insane to even think about. Can you imagine how insane that sounds? Ballot chasing after the fact. You got to go out and find votes. That's literally what they say in the law. Go find votes after the fact. Does no one see how insane that is? Yes. We need to find votes, not earn them, not win over voters. We got to find them after the fact. That's the wording they use. That's the issue. How is that fair to people that vote on election day? How? How is it fair for people that vote on election day that stand in line and some asshole can theoretically vote a month after the fact? How is that fair to anybody? How does it make any kind of sense? K-Cup for 2. Wasn't Trump arrested for asking to do that? Well, yeah. He was. There should be a law where if it takes more than 2 days for a state to count every ballot, where they get fined after each day, they have to count at least 99% of their votes. Well, yeah, there should be fines on it. But I have an idea. Count the damn votes. Lord Rhino for 5. UK has double the population of California, and we here count usually in 12 hours, sometimes more, but always less than a day. Well, and I get that UK, they have a different style of election. I get that. They have a single ballot. I get that, but still. UK, France, all these countries, they count their votes in a freaking day. Not even. Tens of millions of people vote. Yet California can wait a month. A fucking month to release the results. That is insane. But guys, we gotta go find the votes. Just when you hear that, that should just irk you. We gotta go find the votes to win. Oh man. All right, and in other news, everybody, I got something pulled up here. I got to confirm this is real. Yeah, so apparently, a little while ago, where is it? Yeah, right here. So we just got some pretty big news out from 2028 as Gretchen Whitmer says she will not run for president in 2028. That's a big deal. One of the few Democrats that I think would be a legitimate threat to win. She's out running. Gretchen Whitmer was by far one of the strongest Democrats they could have ran, and they didn't. Might explain why she was cozying up to Trump a little bit. She knew It doesn't matter. She's not going to run again. She's probably done with politics. Well, not done with politics, but she's not running 2028. That's a big deal. That is one of the few Democrats I could see that could actually be a serious threat to win. The other one is Shapiro, but he's never going to freaking win the primary. He's not going to win the primary ever. Let's just cut the shit. There's no way in hell they're going to let Shapiro be the nominee. It is insane. Even though he's the strongest candidate, it's just not going to happen. Would Whitmer be a VP? I guess maybe, but I don't know. She is saying there will be a robust group of people running for president. So I don't think she could have won the primary anyway. After she decided to act like a moderate and work with Trump, that's just wild to me. You're the governor of a state. It doesn't really matter like who the president is. If you're working with the president on some stuff that makes sense for your state, like actually good things, why would that be like a negative? Like Whitmer talked with Trump and they had a good conversation and they did good stuff for Michigan. It's wild. Absolutely wild. So I think she's retiring. You know, that is something I've heard, that she might retire. I don't think it's a guarantee though, but you would think she's at the peak of her political capital, her political power, and she's kind of just killing over momentum. I don't know. It smells like decisions been made internally about 28. Maybe they're gonna run it back with Harris. Are you guys ready for Harris again? You guys ready for Harris 2.0? Or no, 3.0. Excuse me. That will be the third election she runs in for president. Yeah, run it back with Harris. Run it back with Harris. I just can't believe she's actually the nominee. I know some of the polls are showing like Newsom and Buttigieg are gaining, but guys, it's gonna be freaking Harris. If she runs, the Democrats, they're gonna want her again. Great. Absolutely wonderful. Make it stop. Yeah, 3 times in a row. This time she's gonna lose again. Would she actually do worse? You know, that's the thing. Retread candidates like that, they don't tend to do good the second time around. Usually. Outside of Nixon, when was the last time a nominee lost and then won after like in the second time they ran? Like, not including Trump because he was already president. I'm talking about somebody like Harris, where she was gift wrapped the nomination. She loses the general. 4 years later, wins the primary again, or she is given the primary again. And she, like, when was the last time that's happened? Especially back-to-back elections like this. Ever? America noted for 2. Harris with the new William Jennings Bryan. Oh, gosh. But yeah, it's like Nixon was the only one I could think of. Nixon's the only one. Yeah, that's a little bit different. He retired from politics for a brief amount of time, and then he came back in 68. That was 8 years after the fact. This is 4 years. And she's going to probably run again. Cleveland? Well, no, that's just a second. That's just what Trump did. He lost re-election. He won again. That's not the same thing here. I don't think there's ever been anybody to do what she's about to do. Harrison lost in 1836. He came back and won in 1840. He ran for president at 36. Wait, what? I gotta look this up. 1836. Oh my God, he did. I actually did not know this. Okay, yeah. Okay, it happened once. Freaking once. William Henry Harrison. And I guess you can include Thomas Jefferson, but get the first like 3 elections, you can't count that. Especially with how the Electoral College worked, but whatever. Right here. William Henry Harrison. Yeah, he ran in 36, got crushed, and then won in 1840 and died 5 minutes later. So yeah, Harris will run again at 28 and then run again in 36 and lose. That's real. Take up for 5. Debate 2028. Harris, Donald Trump raised your gas prices. Vance, Madam Vice President, that was 2 years ago. The average now is $2 a tank. Yeah. I was going to say Teddy Roosevelt. Teddy actually won in 1980 or 1904, excuse me. He didn't lose. Anti-Masonic is a strange alliance. Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah. Yeah, you can tell America definitely had a lot of people that are anti Freemasons. They did not like Freemasonry for a good reason. So, yeah, the strange alliance. Yeah, these early elections in America, you just get some wacky ass alliances. And like, yeah. Yeah, like this one right here. Not the right one. Shit. Where is it? But at 3 days, Harrison rose again. No, he freaking died. Teddy Roosevelt, 1984. I meant 1904. Excuse me. Hot take, but the 24 election was a huge win. But if we had the 22 economy and inflation, it would have been a generational blowout. Oh yeah, if it was the 2020, if it was the 22 economy, yeah, Trump would have freaking won New Jersey, probably won Illinois. So we'll see. I gotta look it up. There's a funny House election. I gotta find it. Like American elections, the early 1800s are hilarious. Chance raising for 5. If it's Harris, which it probably will be, we'll finally get the Vance Harris debate we were deprived of last time. That'd be a SmackDown. Yeah, it would. I want to see it. Hopefully it happens. Hopefully it happens. I'm gonna find it. Yeah, right here. So, you think American elections are crazy now? This was the 1854 House election. Um, Look at this. Yeah, again, American elections were wacky in the like it was way more wacky than it is today. Look at this. Democrats, they had 157 seats. The Whigs, 70. Excuse me, 82 for the Democrats, Whigs 54, no nothing, 52. Here's where it gets funny. Anti-Nebraska. There was a party where it was just they just hate Nebraska. Like, no, we don't want Nebraska. Fuck these guys. They got 22 seats. And Republicans got 13. The People's Party got 9. Free Soil, they got 1. And oh my gosh. So, yeah. Yeah, the anti-Nebraska party. What am I looking at? This is the 1854 House election. Isn't it beautiful? The Know Nothing Party that knows nothing about foreign policy. Well, the Know Nothing Party had some very interesting opinions. You probably guess what. Fuck Nebraska. That's basically what it was. Like, I gotta pull up their wiki page. Like, what they actually believed in is freaking wild. Lord Rhino for 2. Look up the 1964 Illinois House elections. Oh, I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, so right here. K Cup for 2. Rap, look up Washington's electoral vote total in 1789. I'm not going to. So right here, from 1901 to 1954, the state had failed to conduct legislative redistricting, at which point a constitutional amendment to force regular redistricting of the House was passed. Under its provisions, if the legislature and a backup redistricting commission failed to enact a map, an election will be held at large. So, yeah. Basically, they couldn't redraw their maps, and well, they had an at-large House election for the Illinois House of Representatives. Look at the majority they ended up with. They had a super majority, even though Democrats got 52% of the votes. Yeah, funny how that works. I mean, like, this is obviously illegal now. There's no way in hell this would ever happen. Hey, actually, wait a second. Did the Supreme Court ever strike this down? Wait a second here. And by the way, look at the popular vote. Yeah, 273 million people voted for Democrats, 252 million votes for Republicans. You gotta love American elections, everybody. It's just the wackiest stuff possible. But the only reason they won is because this was when Johnson won in a landslide. Strike what down? Did they ever strike it down where like states could just do this? Where it's like, oh yeah, we're not redrawing. Fuck that. We're doing at-large districts. What the hell is that popular vote total? Well, this is why. This right here is why. You can't make this up. Illinois House of Representatives election. This is why the results are so crazy. Let's just look at this. Democrats got 2.3 million votes for everything because it was statewide. This is the official vote because each person got this many people to vote for them because it was at large in the state of Illinois. At large means it's the entire state. So you end up with this. This right here is just beautiful, right? This is what, oh my gosh. Just look at this. 525 million votes. The population in Illinois is like, back at this point was what, like 10 million people? No, it was more than 10 million. Let's see. Population of Illinois, 1960. 10 million people. Yeah. How long was a fucking ballot? I don't want to know. I honestly don't want to. Like, how many people ran? What was the ballots like? Holy shit. Voters were allowed to cast up to 177 votes with a straight ticket voting option available to vote for all 118 candidates of a party slate. Oh my gosh. This is wild. There are 4 ballots given to voters in 1964. A white ballot containing most of the typical races, such as for president and governor. A green ballot, voting on the retention elections for various judges. A blue ballot containing 2 constitutional amendments to vote on. And the orange ballot, solely reserved for the House of Representatives election. Before the election, the sheer number of ballots to be voted on led to predictions of a high number of undervotes in the House election, but post-election analysis revealed that this did not take place. The most free and fair election in Africa be like. Oh man, this is wild. I gotta look it up. I'm pretty sure there's pictures of it. I look it up. Illinois House election orange ballot. Holy shit. I did find it, everybody. This is what the ballot looked like. Hold on. If it would let me take it. There you go. Got it. Classic Illinois. Yeah, this is Illinois in a nutshell. I gotta find it. Yeah, here it is. This is the official House ballot. And by the way, they only had two parties. You couldn't even vote independent. You had to vote Democrat or Republican. You know how sketchy this looks? Like, yes, you can only vote for one of the two parties. Look at this. And they even blacked out some names. They changed names at the last second. Oh, man. Yeah, this is what voters in Illinois had to deal with. Oh, my gosh. Absolutely wild. You just can't make this up. What am I looking at? You are witnessing history. I'll get the super chats in a second because this is freaking stupid. America Noted for 2. Was the 1824 election decided in the House? Yes, it was. America Noted for 2. Anti-Nebraska means Anti-Kansas-Nebraska Act. I know, but it's kind of funny. It's like, fuck Nebraska. K-Cup for 2. Wisconsin 1924 election is funny. Well, yeah, that's when LaFollette ran. Chance Raising for 5. Johnson won almost every state at 64. That's what happens when you nominate a Lulbert and talks like a crazy person. Kind of. K-Cup for 2. But Florida 2000 was too complicated. Yeah, that's too... No, this is complicated. Just wild. You think someone just flipped some coins for their ballot? Yeah, they're like, screw this. But like, I love how you can vote for just Democrat or Republican. Fuck everybody else. You get no other choices. How the hell was this legal even back then? How? How can a state just say you only get 2 picks, Republicans or Democrats, not even a random independent? You have to pick from these 117 names. Oh, man. Illinois is the most corrupt state in the country. Yeah, it is. Only in Illinois would you be able to pull shit off like this. Just wild. Yeah, this is an example copy of what it looked like. Just, I can't get over how long this ballot is. You think the California ballot's long? Yeah, no. That's nothing compared to this monstrosity. It's great. Illinois is so corrupt, no wonder so many former governors and politicians have gone to jail. Well, yeah. It's Illinois. What do you expect? I just can't get over some of this. A specimen ballot's a copy. Well, yeah, this is a copy, but still. Somebody had to come up with this idea. It's like, okay, we have not had, apparently, according to the wiki page, they had no redistricting for 50 years. They're like, screw it. We don't need a redraw. We're just going to do a statewide election for 170 seats or whatever it is. Imagine trying to read the ballot. You can't. And that's how you end up with this garbage. Just. And you know damn well some people took their time and voted for all of them. But no, a lot of people just voted straight Democrat or straight Republican because they could. California, 61 candidates for governor can't compare. Yeah, this is like 340 or whatever it is. Just wild. Like the amount of shenanigans that had to take place for this to happen is insane. America Noted for 2. Man, and I thought New Jersey was corrupt as fuck. Oh, Illinois is way worse. Way worse. All right, so I think it's kind of it for today. We talked about Iran stuff. Just quickly, it was kind of a fun thing to look at, but yeah, I can't get over this. Yeah, you only get 2 choices, everybody. If you don't want to read our choices, you gotta read through all these ballots or these people's names. And it takes days. All right, everybody. We shall see you guys in the next stream, video, or wherever you see us at. Godspeed to all of you.